name is Rich Ferguson. I was born in Salinas, California. My mom was a high school student. My dad was a drug trafficker. My dad was in jail from when I was born on. I was about 5 years old when I lost my mom. She was killed in kind of a murder-suicide type situation. A neighbor that was kind of in love with her, I guess, is how the story goes. Drove him straight off a cliff at as high speed as could be. I was probably about 5. After my mother was killed, the whole family environment kind of went upside down. The family was already pretty heavily into drugs and doing drug trafficking, and when she was killed, it kind of was a downhill spiral from there. Nobody really brought me up. My grandmother had custody of me, my mom's mother, and my mom's 2 half-sisters were only a few years older than me, so they were fairly young kids at the time as well. It was pretty much just us living in the house as kids, doing whatever we wanted, but the house itself was always completely loaded with people doing drugs and having sex and beating the heck out of each other in some corner room somewhere. I knew something didn't fit right. You know, I was a pretty observant kid. I just walked the streets and sat in the house and watched all the drug deals go on and all the violence and all the chaos. There was one person who was probably the person who, in a way, maybe even saved my life. I don't know, you know. His name was Herbert, and he was an older gentleman that lived up the street from us. He had a cute little dog. I remember him sitting me down in his living room and showing me medical books and history books and like just telling me facts. And I remember it because it was like a sponge. I just absorbed everything that was given to me. And I remember that, and looking back on it, that was really, really cool, because that was a person who saw that I was a troubled kid who had zero guidance, and I can look back on it now, he was kind of like a big brother. So schooling was a weird thing for me. It wasn't like a school, like I had to get up and go to school. I just kind of went when I wanted, and somehow it was just allowed to be that way until I was taken away about 11 or 12 years old. They found me on the playground. Detective Service came in and swooped me away, and due to the circumstances of what was going on with my home, a lot of threats, a lot of violence, me not attending school, and I left with just the clothing on my back. No toys, no memory, no pictures, no nothing. They allowed my one aunt to visit me, but besides that, no one in the family was going to get to know where I was and where I was going. I was put in emergency foster care, and the social workers at that time talked to me about what I wanted, and I clearly remember telling them that I wanted something pretty much the opposite of what I was living. And when I met my parents, it was great, and we got along really well. They were really nice people, and they had a ranch with lots of animals, and it was very calm. It turned out I was really lucky that happened, because the facts are that it's pretty unlikely that a kid at that age that's gone through what I went through would be sought after and be adopted. They are amazing people. My whole family are full of entrepreneurial type minds and very well educated, and they noticed that I had a lot of analytical skills and a lot of observational kind of skills, and they knew I wasn't an unbright kid. They just knew I needed some help. They sat me down, they worked with me regularly to read and to do all kinds of different things, and we played puzzle games all the time and logic games and tried to outwit each other on a regular basis, and that was good because that kind of got my mind ticking a lot, and just kind of was a sponge at that point because I had been waiting to learn a long time. Even though I was extremely observant as a kid, another part of my mind was really left unstimulated, and they did a great job helping me out with that. I had a huge desire to connect with my real family after I was adopted, not because I missed them and wanted to be back with my old family, but there were certain people in my life that I wanted to make sure I connected with, and you know, I was very curious if they were doing okay, and you know what's happened with the rest of the people that I knew as my family. You know, even though it was weird and violent, there was a few people that it was really, really important to me to figure it out. My aunt, who was the closest to me when I was growing up, my mom's half-sister, she spent a lot of her weekends trying to figure out where I was, sending me things to the Child Protective Services, and they said they would forward it to me, so she would follow trucks and things like that, which they never actually did come to me, but she tried all kinds of things. somehow, and I don't know exactly how, but somehow she figured out that I was in California, and she went from high school to high school and junior high to junior high up and down the state, looking through yearbooks, literally looking for my picture. And she found my picture in the Atascadero Junior High yearbook and found out what my name was. And then from there she was able to figure out my family and track me down. So it's just really weird how it's turned out. I've connected with all these people and now I know the whole story. I know who everyone is and how I fit. And it's nice to have the biological side and look at people who is your blood, and then have the love and support and everything from the adoptive family as well, who I just have even grown closer with as I've met and figured out my whole past. And I'm very, very lucky. My upbringing has molded me in a specific way. You know, I don't have any desire to do anything with drugs and alcohol and anything like that. And I surround myself with real positive people. And when I'm performing, it's amazing. It's great. I get to touch people in a unique way, kids to adults, and perform my magic. But I think that success is being lucky enough to, or achieving, or striving for, or just doing what you have a passion for and applying it in a way that benefits, you know, just not your pocketbook. I hope that with my magic, with my upbringing and what I've gone through, that I can continue to relate with kids, to let them see that no matter what they've gone through, that every day is a new day and they can choose to do what they want with their life. And if anyone's questioning if, you know, they should get involved or if they'll make a difference, you know, I'll tell them straight out, it'll make a huge difference. You know, an hour a week will make a huge difference with the right kid. You know, I've done magic shows in, you know, certain parts of the state where there's a lot of inner city kids, and I know for a fact that these kids look up to me because, you know, I'll see them a year later at the same company, you know, get together, and they come up to me with so much respect, like, oh, you know, I've been working on magic since I saw you, and like, I could tell that I touch them in my own personal way, but everyone has their own way of touching people and, you know, sharing and opening up doors and opportunities and just making kids see the light. So if they're questioning it, I'd say, you know, just go for it. You have nothing to lose. You have just so much to gain.